Going into last night's debate between Senator J.D. Vance and Governor Tim Walz, expectations were clear. J.D. Vance, despite the hype from Donald Trump, was expected to struggle against the formidable Democratic governor of Minnesota. Many, including Trump himself, anticipated a challenging night for Vance. However, what followed was far worse than expected, a complete meltdown. Governor Walz, known for his sharp policy knowledge and commanding presence, delivered blow after blow, while Vance floundered under pressure. As if watching his chosen candidate crumble on stage wasn't enough, Trump, known for his fiery outbursts, could not contain his frustration and rage, taking to Truth Social to launch a tirade of panicked posts. In this video, we will delve into the events of the debate, the crucial moments that led to J.D. Vance's disastrous performance, Trump's unhinged online meltdown, and the fallout from the night that will likely resonate long after the debate stage lights dimmed. Hours before the debate even began, Trump posted an unusual video on Truth Social, setting the stage for what many thought would be an intense face-off. He seemed oddly reserved, hinting that even he knew Vance might not perform well. "We're going to be fair," Trump said, with a smirk that seemed to suggest he knew things could get ugly. He praised Vance's academic record, calling him a tremendous guy and a top student at Yale, but his praise for Governor Tim Walz was surprisingly cautious. "I think he's probably very underrated," Trump admitted, a rare moment of honesty from a man who rarely gives his opponents any credit. This tone from Trump raised eyebrows, suggesting that he was already preparing for a less-than-ideal outcome. Even Trump's most loyal supporters were left wondering, was the former president preparing for J.D. Vance to stumble? J.D. Vance fumbles on climate change. The debate started as many expected. Governor Walz confidently laying out his platform, addressing critical issues like climate change, and using facts and figures to back up his points. In contrast, Vance struggled to keep up, especially when the topic turned to climate change, a subject that has long been a weak point for many Republican candidates, including Donald Trump. Walz, who has long championed policies aimed at combating climate change, went straight for the jugular. "There's no doubt this thing roared onto the scene faster and stronger than anything we've seen," he said, addressing the rapid changes in climate that have affected Minnesota and beyond. He cited the Inflation Reduction Act, explaining how it has led to massive job creation across the country, including 200,000 jobs in green energy sectors. Vance, clearly uncomfortable, attempted to sidestep the issue by parroting the Trumpian talking point that climate change was a hoax. But Walz was ready for him. "My farmers know climate change is real," he shot back, referencing the devastating weather events that have plagued the Midwest. Vance, on the defensive, could only muster vague denials and weak counterarguments, ultimately leaving the audience unconvinced. Trump's panic sets in. As Vance's performance began to unravel, Trump's frustration boiled over. Watching his chosen candidate flail on stage, Trump took to Truth Social, where he lashed out at everyone from the debate moderators to Governor Walz himself. In his first post, Trump slammed the debate moderators, writing, "Both young ladies have been extremely biased anchors, a familiar refrain from Trump whenever things don't go his way." This was just the beginning of a series of increasingly erratic posts. Trump's meltdown only accelerated as the night went on. He accused Walz of indoctrinating with lies and claimed the moderators were nervous about Vance's success. However, anyone watching the debate knew the truth. Vance was out of his depth, and Walz was delivering a masterclass in debate strategy. By the time Trump hit send on his final post of the evening, it was clear. The former president was not just angry, he was panicked. One of the most talked about moments of the night came when J.D. Vance, frustrated by being fact-checked by the moderators, had his microphone cut off. This unprecedented move came after Vance tried to spin a debunked narrative about immigration, suggesting that Kamala Harris had somehow opened the floodgates to illegal immigration through an app, an assertion the moderators quickly fact-checked as false. "Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut," moderator Margaret Brennan said, effectively silencing Vance as he floundered, trying to regain control of the conversation. The visual of Vance standing on stage, mouth moving but no sound coming out, became the defining image of the night, a metaphor for a campaign that seems increasingly out of touch with reality. This moment sent Trump into another rage-filled post on Truth Social. Margaret Brennan just lied again about the illegal migrants led into our country by lying Kamala Harris, and then she cut off J.D.'s mic to stop him from correcting her, Trump fumed. In reality, there was no correction to be made. Vance was simply wrong. Walz's strategic takedowns. Vance's struggles intensify. Throughout the night, Governor Walz remained composed and strategic, dismantling Vance's arguments piece by piece. One of the most effective takedowns came when Walz turned the conversation to Trump's tax history, noting that the former president had paid zero federal taxes in 10 out of the last 15 years. "How is it fair," Walz asked, "that teachers, nurses, and truck drivers are paying their taxes every year, and Donald Trump hasn't paid any?" Vance's response to this was muddled, as he attempted to pivot away from the topic by attacking the very experts who have exposed Trump's tax evasion schemes. "Trust the experts," he said mockingly, a line that seemed to fall flat with the audience. Vance's dismissal of experts came across as tone-deaf, especially in the face of mounting evidence that Trump's business dealings have consistently exploited legal loopholes to avoid paying taxes. Walz, seizing the moment, doubled down. "My pro tip of the day," he said, "is if you need heart surgery, listen to the people at the Mayo Clinic, not Donald Trump." Immigration, another misstep for Vance. When the conversation turned to immigration, another key issue where Trump and his allies have struggled, Vance was once again on the defensive. Governor Walz pointed out that while Donald Trump had promised a big, beautiful wall, less than 2% of that wall had actually been built, and Mexico certainly didn't pay for any of it. Donald Trump had 4 years to do this, and he failed, Walz said bluntly. Vance's attempt to deflect by blaming the immigration crisis on Kamala Harris and Democrats quickly fell apart, as Walz expertly pointed out that the most significant immigration reform bill in decades had bipartisan support, and it was Trump who torpedoed it for political gain. What would Donald Trump talk about if we actually solved immigration? Walz quipped, to the audience's laughter. It was another moment where Vance's lack of a coherent response left him flailing. Trump's final meltdown, a desperate last-ditch effort. By the end of the night, it was clear to everyone watching, both in the audience and online, that J.D. Vance had lost the debate. Governor Walz had not only won on policy, but had delivered a series of knockout blows that left Vance scrambling to recover. Trump, watching from afar, couldn't help but post one final tirade, accusing the moderators of bias, calling Walz a liar, and bizarrely claiming that Vance was fact-checking the moderators, despite clear evidence to the contrary. His desperation was palpable, and his post seemed less like a defense of Vance and more like a man watching his political empire crumble in real time. J.D. Vance's performance in the debate was nothing short of a disaster, and Donald Trump's meltdown on Truth Social only made things worse. Instead of offering a coherent vision for the future, Vance spent the night dodging questions, pushing debunked conspiracy theories, and getting repeatedly shut down by Governor Walz. Trump's panic, broadcast for all to see on Truth Social, was a clear sign that even he knows the reality. His chosen candidates are struggling, and the once invincible Trump brand is showing cracks. As the 2024 election approaches, it's becoming increasingly clear that Trump's political influence is waning, and last night's debate was just another example of that decline. In the end, the choice for voters could not be clearer. Governor Walz, a leader with a proven track record and a commitment to truth, or J.D. Vance, a candidate propped up by a former president who seems more interested in his own legacy than in the future of the country. The debate may be over, but its impact will be felt long after the lights go down.